We met in high school and we got married in 2011. When we were dating, we'd always talked about having a really big family, so we wanted to start early and get going. And we tried for several years and thought, okay, something's going on, why are we not pregnant yet? So we went to the doctor and saw a specialist, and we were diagnosed with infertility. So we tried some medications that they suggested for a couple of years and still really weren't having any success. We would go up for lots of appointments and lots of testings, and every month we take a regular, routine pregnancy test. And I remember I woke up getting ready for work, and I remember taking the test, and then I was getting ready to hop in the shower, and I saw that it had been completed and it was positive. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I ran down, yelled for Cory and was about ready to run down the stairs, and he came up, and I remember sitting on the stairs and he was holding me, and we just sobbed for a little while. Just so much excitement and joy overfilled us. And then a couple weeks later, we went into our ultrasound, and there was no heartbeat. And there was just an overwhelming feeling of, why, God? Like, you gave us just weeks ago so much joy and so much excitement and love, and then you just ripped it away. Like, what? Why? A few months later, we got another positive test, and that pregnancy I had lost before our first appointment. So that was the second pregnancy we'd lost. And I just remember I was so angry. I just had so much anger and just questions. And
I would try and pray, spend time with God, ask him the questions you want answered. And her first words were, that's easier said than done.
Yeah, I was just still so angry for that joy being ripped out, I think, and that little glimpse of hope that we had gotten to be ripped out again. And I got to a point after that, I feel like, well, it is what it is. We're just gonna not necessarily give up, but
we had about 2 months left of medication.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
So we took some time off, a few months trying, and then I think we both just came to a realization we prayed about it, and we were just gonna let the medication go, and once it was done, we were just gonna
take a break. And we got an invite from the church to go to the River Valley Conference in May. And I asked Cory if he wanted to go, and he was like, I don't know.
Not really, no.
Crowds of people is just not something that he's excited about. And I think one of our friends from the church talked to you about going, and I think you kind of came to a point where you're like,
what do I have to lose?
Right.
I mean, it's completely out of my norm to do something like this. So I just felt like it was something I should do.
I remember it was the last night, and Chris Hodges was supposed to speak and present, and something happened to his plane, and we all thought it was a joke. Then Rob came out and said, no, I'm super serious. Chris is not coming. Shane Baxter, from a friend of ours from Australia, is going to be here from Enjoy Church. He talked about spending time with God and honestly just taking the time to go out and look up and just talk to God. And he challenged us towards the end to look up with eyes of faith. And he challenged us to go outside, look up at the stars, and spend, 7 nights just with God, just you and God, and just have a conversation.
And a black canvas, a canvas filled with opportunity and possibility, destiny, portion, longing and promise. Friends, I'm here to tell someone today, I'm here to encourage someone today. If you're thinking that your hope is limited and there's no hope of your dreams becoming a reality, if you can't see a future beyond the here and now, if you can't see a future beyond what's in your barren tent today, then maybe it's time to rise up in faith and follow the Lord outside and look up into the heavens and see what you have never seen before. Some of you come and you've got disappointment, you feel restricted, you feel contained. You're feeling like, am I going to get the breakthrough? Step outside, step outside. Why don't we stand to our feet? Can we stand to our feet? Is that okay? Step outside. Come outside. Step outside into the presence of God. 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 Step outside into the presence of God.
That next night I went outside, and right when it kind of got dark out, and sat in my driveway and looked up at the stars. And I remember that first night, I remember sitting there and I prayed to God, and I said, reveal like eyes of faith to me and help me understand this process and what you want us to do with this. And so I sat out there probably 15, 20 minutes and I did it the next night and the next night. And it was huge for me because that's something that I'd never really taken the time to do. When I guess fast forward 3-ish weeks, and we got another positive test. And I remember when we got that positive test, I thought, okay, I'm just going to wait and let it sit. So later that day after work, I remember coming home and taking another test, and it was positive. I think I took 4 tests.
Yeah.
And July 8th, we went up for our first appointment. And when we went into the ultrasound, it was very surreal because I was very anxious about seeing that baby with no heartbeat again. And we saw the little flicker, and we got to see the heartbeat, and yeah, our lives changed. That little 172 beats per minute. Every time we would go up for an appointment, it was still very hard to be excited. There was a lot of anxiety.
I don't know what it was, but on the drive up there, all my anxiety went away. I felt an overwhelming sense of calmness, and
I remember that.
I just said it to her as we were sitting there. I was like, I don't feel nervous anymore. The whole day I felt awful. But as soon as we started driving up there, it was nice. And then we saw the heartbeat, and we couldn't control it. I mean, even the nurses were sitting there crying with us. So just praying and thanking him was probably the biggest thing for me in that moment. I can only see what's in front of me and around me, but he's looking at the whole picture. And I think that was what gave me a lot of calmness. I can't change it. I don't have any control of it, so I can't worry about it.
Our last appointment was February 20th, and we were due on the 22nd. And we went to that last appointment, and the doctor said that everything was progressing, but she was still just comfortable. And so we scheduled an induction date for the following week. She didn't end up getting delivered until leap day at 12:54 a.m.
I mean, it is a miracle. Looking at her, I mean, I'm so thankful and appreciative. And I don't know, I feel blessed to be able to be her dad, regardless of how long it took. Every day I come home from work, and it's the first thing I want to do is go see how you two are doing. When I wake her up, when she wakes up and finally realizes who I am, she smiles at me, and it just melts my heart.